Hey, folks, welcome for joining another monthly State of the Market. We're a little behind, aren't we? But I mean, news is better than no news. So we got a little pummeled. we got we got behind, but that's fine because Tim is the most excited he's ever been because hockey season. It's now hockey season. He can live the life.
Yeah, I mean, I have something to watch almost nightly. There's just literally, I think they said, you're gonna have at least one hockey game to watch for months, which is cool.
You guys are excited about it. You can't be in attendance, which I know stinks because we've done events and we've had times where we've done games and stuff, and it's way better in person. But I mean, it's still something. It's fun.
You're rubbing it in. Get this: I became a season ticket holder in March of 2020.
Oh, really?
The absolute worst time that you could have
So how do
purchased
they do
season
that? They just
tickets.
put you on hold?
No, I have the old debits coming out. Trust me.
Really?
But it's essentially once I get paid off for a full year, then it pauses. So I'm almost to that point.
Gotcha.
So I'll have season tickets for the following year. Yeah.
I figured they'd do something for people that are just bought season tickets. I mean, they can't just start charging people because they're not even really playing. But
I mean, I think the other thing is, there might be some people that will bail out of their seats, and then I'll look to maybe get better seats if those become available because they'll probably be cheaper. So I'm just holding on tight. I'm holding on tight.
so what you're saying is this year when we go to games, you're charging per person. Like I got to pay, the wife got to pay. We each got to per like to sit with you. Is that how it's gonna go?
Yeah, buy your own soda,
Your own soda.
sneak in some chips. But yeah, it's exciting to finally have that. Congrats on your Pens on the shootout winner the other day.
Oh yeah, I know. It's funny as I watched it. We don't get as many games, so I'm not as avid a fan as my wife, to be frank. I watch college basketball all day long, forever and ever. I can watch anybody, but I watch some hockey here and there. Like when I'm making
How
dinner,
do
doing something.
I was gonna say, how do you have time to do any of that? You're working like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day.
You know what? This January, you're not too far off actually. But I'll sit with the computer, like in front of the TV, and bang away on some stuff, or while making dinner, I'll listen to it, have it on the TV, like that kind of stuff. But yeah, not a lot of. And your experience is the same. This is probably one of the busier Januaries in a long time.
Well, we've been saying that for the last really 3 months. Is that November, December, January is normally the slow time. We get a little bit of a reset. Of course, everybody knows that rates are low enough to keep lenders busy as people continue to flow through to refinance. But the purchase market is moving. People are out there looking for homes because they know their buying power is high, rates are low.
Yep.
People are looking to sell their homes and purchase their forever homes and things like that. So we have not had any type of reset. I think there was a Christmas recently. I think
We
maybe,
did
but
Christmas. I did Christmas and went and saw my parents. And so the kids had like legit snow, 28 inches. I took a picture with your mug. It was like 24 to 28 inches, right? So it was a high all 4 days we were there of 21.
why
So
didn't you bring some of that back with you, man? We need some
it's a
snow down
lot
here.
of snow. It was nice. So the kids, they went to bed. They played all day and they sled rode all day long, tore the yard up. But then when you wake up the next day, it's all been covered over because they dropped another 6 to 8 inches overnight. So you don't know that you were outside playing. So it's kind of cool for them.
Can you imagine if we did get, let's say 8 inches of snow and how fast this purchase market is moving, and there's a full 24 hours where people struggle to show a home? That will bring everything to a screeching halt. I think it will be chaos to try to
It'd be
move
fun.
showings and things
Oh,
like that.
we've been nothing but chaos since the start of last year. So bring it on, whatever. Just at this point, we're invulnerable. We can get anything done. We can do whatever.
I mean,
Asteroids,
things
snow.
are, sight unseen. So yeah, snow's not going to
I
do it.
got an offer today. I've never seen this in my career. Got an offer today, one of my listings, that no closing help. They didn't ask for closing help. No is an as is. And they offered to pay for some of the seller's closing help.
What?
I have never in my career seen that. And I got one like that today. I'm like, wow, that's aggressive. That's an aggressive market when buyers are offering to pay for some of the seller's closing help. Cost.
So
Misspoke.
that's a good point. So we've always said that cash is king in real estate. You have
Yep.
somebody that offers 350 with a financing contingency and an appraisal contingency, and then you have another person that offers 350 cash, or maybe even 340 cash. Sometimes a
Yep.
lower
Middle of the
cash
road.
offer will beat it out, right?
Yep.
Uh, a buyer that's still a buyer with financing, it helps to have some cash.
It
You
does.
have more flexibility that if you have
Yeah.
some money. So that's what's tough is, I think I said this on our last video. In the past, we've marketed these no money down programs, which are still available. But we've also said, hey, if you want to buy a house, you don't have much money, that's fine. We'll ask the seller to pay for your closing costs. And that just is not happening right now. Very
Tough.
often, a few times.
It's tough. The
You and
houses
I
are
have one
pretty,
going now that they're getting closing help, but there's not many.
not many. It helps if you're a buyer that's fairly handy. If you're willing to get your hands dirty and do some stuff. Some of the houses that need a little updating, need a little love, are sitting a little bit longer. Um, but again, it's based on location, right? So if you got something in Owings or Dunkirk and needs a little love, you're still paying top dollar with no closing help. But if you got something south end of the county, Prince Frederick, Glusby, whatever, and it needs a little bit of work, needs a bit of love, you might be able to get a little closing help. Just because most people are ready to just move in and be done. And a lot of these buyers were renters and they're used to having stuff done for them. And now they don't. So they may not have that savvy, or they've got virtual meetings all day long. When do I got time to fix and update this kitchen? So if you're willing to get your hands dirty, there's some chances here and there to get some closing help. Some.
Yeah. I had a conversation with a buddy that I went to high school with recently, and he's looking to sell his house and buy another one. And he's really stepping up in price range in a very competitive market. And his wife asked me about renovation loans, because she said, look, if we start to look around, we find a house that just has great bones in the community that we want,
Yeah.
but it just needs a ton of love. We don't have necessarily the time to get it done once we sell this house and
Yep.
moved in there. How can we work this where we can pay for have the renovations financed into the loan, and then get a move-in ready home, 60 days after you close? I think that's a great secondary option. I know that those loan programs are tough. They take a little bit longer. They're a little bit more involved, but we have a whole department to do that. So that's a good idea. Just kind of, dovetailing off of what you said. If you are somebody who is not handy and you're looking and you find that house that just needs a ton of love, but it has all the intangibles, you can't change the zip code, you can't change the neighborhood, but you can change the cabinets, right?
Yep.
Talk to me about renovation loans. I can give you a full explanation.
So I always, because when I'm with buyers, like I don't know their financials and I don't want to know their financials, to be honest with you. That's why I send it to you, because it's a very personal thing, knowing some of these financial situations. So I don't get into it, but I do have the conversation, and I'm kind of curious on your take. Do you talk to them about the idea of perhaps the renovation loans, or like credit union personal loans to do some of those things? And what would be the advantages when you chat with them about that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So right now, with what rates are doing, rates being as low as they are, if you were to do a renovation loan, they're maybe a quarter to 3/8% higher. So they're still very low. But if you can get the basement interest rate on your first mortgage, which
Exactly.
is a bulk of what you're borrowing, and then take out that second loan, whether it be a home equity line of credit, a second mortgage, or a personal loan, you pay higher interest, but you're paying higher interest on a small amount that you can pay off in the short term. And then
Exactly.
you're sitting pretty with the rest of the bulk of that first mortgage. That is a good option. The problem is, this is just a logistics thing. Banks and credit unions are so far behind on these second loans. Even a 30 or $40,000 home equity line, you're going to sit in line for 90 to 120 days sometimes, because
Yeah.
they're not. First of all, there are a ton of people that are pursuing them, but also they just don't have the capacity to process them quickly. So they might have to wait a couple months before they get the funds to do those, or you spend your own money, get the renovations done, borrow that money to replenish your savings.
Yeah.
That you do it retroactively.
Yeah. That's a good idea too. There's a lot of different options. We got to be sure that those houses are moving ready. We can have any safety features. We don't have any like foundational stuff, no septics, roofs, those kinds of things. But if it's just like spit polish, there's options. There's definitely some options. That's cool. And you'd probably sit down with them. I'm sure you sit down with them and look at their numbers. And the conversation I usually have with them is like, is this gonna be a 3-year house, 5-year house, forever house, 10-year house? And that really guides that conversation more than anything,
Yeah,
because you got to
I
know.
think I think that we're doing a lot more deals for quote unquote forever homes, because people realize that once I buy this home in this market, maybe the price is a little bit higher than what I expected, but having a low interest rate, really try to stretch myself a little bit. Now's the time to do that, and then I'll stay in this home for quite a long time.
Yeah.
You don't want to buy at the peak of the market knowing that you're going to sell 2 or 3 years later. Not that there's going to be a huge market dip, but you want to, like you said, you want your buyers to think into the
Ahead.
future, not in the moment. Yeah.
And you got to have that conversation with them because right now they are paying the most for these houses that we're going to see probably in the next like 7 to 10 years. And you got to have that conversation with them, right? Hey, you're paying top dollar for this. Like you're not going to have a whole lot of room to sell or refi probably in the next like 5 to 7 years. So you got to be sure you know what you're getting into. And a lot of people, like you said, they're stretching their budget because they know they're getting raises someday or they're getting another job and stuff. And so they're making a safe decision now, knowing they'll be making more money later and they'll be even better shape. So planning for the future, like we have a lot of responsibility, man. I'm telling you, like we got to be sure that we are doing what we can for them. And it's a lot for this job.
When you look at the history of these properties that you're showing and you look back and you
Yeah.
say, okay, this house was built in 2002.
Yeah.
It sold for X in 05, then 08, and then it dipped. I mean, you're seeing it's cyclical, where this house is selling now for what it sold in 2006, and we thought that the market would never get back there again. Not to be a fear monger and say that there's not a collapse coming, because the reason that we collapsed the first time is no longer a part of the industry. But it's just we never thought that we'd get values back to those numbers, and they are almost everywhere.
And they'll cycle back through again. We just got to make sure they plan, right? And just make sure the right decisions. So let's talk about that then. So let's just people are spoiled with this 2% interest rate, 2.7, 2.8, 2.5, 2.2. I've seen them all. Spoiled. So we're not fear mongering, but if you're watching this, be ready and don't freak out when it starts getting into threes at some point this year, probably this year, towards the end of the year. Don't freak out. 3% is still incredible.
Yeah. And the other thing is to really have communication with your lender as often as you can, because there are 24 to 48 hour news cycles that can dictate what rates do.
Yeah.
The storming the Capitol is a big, that's a huge example of what can happen. As soon as the Senate went blue, and now there's different reasons for different sides to spend money and all these different things that are very political, but also economical. They will dictate a brief spike in rates. Sometimes it can be rates might lower by an eighth because of something that's done politically. So you have to stay in touch with your lender when things are happening in our world, in our country, especially as this Republican to Democratic presidency. There's going to be certain days where we go, wow, rates jumped up an eighth of percent today. And call your lender. What does that do to my payment? Okay, it takes it up $25 a month. That's fine. I can take that hit. Or, man, I was really at the top of my budget already. I don't know if I want to continue to see rates increase and that payment increase. Let me take a step back. So communicate with us. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and it's gonna happen. We're gonna be in the threes at some point. And then just making sure you plan. You just keep planning. Make sure it works for you. That's all.
Yeah. I think I told you earlier, we never complained over the last couple of years when rates were in the mid to high threes.
Yeah.
Because historically that's a great interest rate. But I understand the disappointment when you have a rate in the twos and then it gets into that three threshold. There's some type of mental thing.
Yeah.
If somebody gets their rate into the twos, they think that they've won. So I understand that, but just know what that does to your payment. That's all I have to say.
And yeah, twos are crazy. Wow. We might not see anything like it ever again, but we'll I guess time will tell, right?
That's right. Yeah, I never expected it. That's for sure.
It's fun and adventure. But there's going to be some ups and downs still this year. Be some change in regime. There's going to be some political things. There's going to be some new rules passed, and the rates are going to fluctuate a little bit. Don't freak out. If you got questions, hit us up. Tim posts stuff pretty frequently on his different various social media. You can hit him up there as well if you got a quick question and stuff for him. He's pretty tech savvy, and so he's on there answering questions, helping people out, fielding those things. So,
speaking of that, there's going to be news throughout 2021 because of this changing of the guard and how they view housing. And I think that there's going to be a real effort to try to serve the underprivileged housing market, down payment assistance programs, tax incentives, large tax incentives to purchase a home, purchase your first home. So, there's going to be constant news out there that have to do with housing. So following us on social media, you'll make sure that you see all that right away.
If I remember when Obama was in charge, they were doing the $5,000 gift for first-time buyers. So since Joe is part of that whole circle, you'd probably see things like that for first-time buyers and young people getting into houses, probably just because of what we see with when he was previously associated with the presidency.
I've read as much as a $15,000 tax credit for purchasing a home.
Crazy. We'll
Still
see.
has to be passed, obviously.
It's going to be no. I wanted to. We're not getting political in this, but no matter who the politician is, they're not going to do anything to tank the real estate market. They're going to do what they can to keep everybody into houses and keep everything flowing. So don't. If you see rates in the 2s and 3s, it's still okay. But I don't see anything changing because no matter who the president is, they want to see the real estate market and the economy doing well.
The housing market is our cash cow economically, and a big example of that is the reason why the FHFA, which is Fannie Mae Freddie Mac, the governing body of Fannie Mae Freddie Mac, last fall said, "Hey, we see all these people refinancing. We want to take a tax on all that. We want to get in on all that."
Oh, yeah.
Because they know that that's one industry that has not been slowed down by this pandemic. And it's always been the steady Eddie, except for a few years in the late 2000s, of course, where there was a lot of issues.
Right.
It's always been the steady Eddie where that people are going to at least make the best effort to pay the mortgages. So that is a pillar of our economy. They will do everything they can to make sure that it keeps going.
Yep. Especially in his first year. He doesn't look bad his first year. He'll do something. Just like even Donald did a lot of things to make the economy go well, and he did a lot of things to help the housing market as well. Joe was going to do the same.
Sure.
I'm
Yeah.
selling houses. I don't care about politics. So I don't care who's in charge, to be frank. I just want things to continue to go well with our real estate and our economy, to be frank.
Yeah.
As political as I'll get.
Right. Well, it will always affect us either acutely or if there's a huge, like I said, if there's a $15,000 tax credit for purchasing a home, your phone is going to be ringing off the hook.
I'll be showing a lot of houses. That's for darn sure.
But that doesn't help our inventory issue.
No. But you will have people that are continuing to list when they're ready. Since there's incentives for people, like there's that big of a tax incentive. If that comes to fruition, they can afford more house, so the people selling can also afford more house, and so you'll see a lot more. I think if that's the case, you'll see a lot more of forever homes. People getting their foot into the market when they were renting or doing something, and then those people selling and then having the funds to make that forever home happen. We've seen a lot of forever homes and a lot of downsizing, but even those downsizers that I saw were buying their forever home, you know what I mean? Like that second part of their life forever home. Like they were making good decisions on, I've always wanted to live on the water. I've always wanted to be in the community. I've always wanted to do this. And so even those downsizers are making the second life forever home choices. They're doing their diligence and putting cash down. And it seems like everybody's making very solid financial decisions. You and I aren't dealing with too many people that are on a whim trying to buy a house or I can barely afford it. That doesn't seem to be the case right now.
People are more prepared than ever. Not to say that we are, as advisors, we always have our role. But the things that I used to tell my clients and see a light bulb, I'm now just reinforcing, what they already know. They're still appreciative of any knowledge that I can give, but I can say that people are pretty knowledgeable, and maybe it's because they're asking questions. Maybe they're asking their parents. Maybe they're talking to people and reading online, and all that's good. I'd love to talk, meet people and educate them from the ground up, and talk to somebody that doesn't even know that there's a T in mortgage. But I also like talking to people that kind of know their stuff because it helps either way.
Yep. And the other part of it is you're so accessible now. You can just hit you up on social media or follow you on Facebook or whatever and get all the answers they need for the most part. And they pay attention. Yeah. Tim Sisson is not fake news. Just at home, if you're walking at home, Tim is not fake news.
I'm real. I'm right here. pitch.
Real news. He's real news. All right, man. That was good stuff. I'm very excited about how the year's going to go. Hopefully next month we are able to get together on time, and I'm not running around like a crazy person.
Well, we're both busy. Our homes are, yesterday was technically a holiday, so sometimes we try to do the video, and then all of a sudden, my wife and kid are home, and my kid is he's like Skid Row. He's super loud. So I said, let's do the video tomorrow.
That's fine. The information's still good, and people are still learning things, and we're still helping, and that's really what it comes down to. We just want to get the information to help people, and that's where we're at. So.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, my friend. I'm looking forward to the next one. We'll
Actually,
keep you guys updated. Follow us on social media.
You might be snowboarding for the next one now. I may have to hit you up late on that one too.
I'll be gone February 6th through the 13th.
Yeah.
So we can still do it on the 15th, the day after Valentine's Day, right after hopefully our Valentine's Day.
I'm working on that.
Event.
Yeah. So Connie and I, they gotta get back to me. They're super busy too, I think. So we're working with them.
Try to give some flowers away.
And St. Patrick's. St. Patrick's has been locked down already. We're ready for
Looking forward to that one. Yeah, absolutely.
Not to overstep Valentine's Day, but St. Patrick's is really that's my sweet spot.
I know. It always has been.
All right, man. For the rest of your day here today, we want to send you some more buyers. We're going to take care of some people, and we'll see you again the 15th. Be safe snowboarding, man. We don't want you coming back with broken legs or injured arms or any of that stuff.
I can still do these videos with a broken arm. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, but I don't want to see it. Like, I don't want to see anybody hurt. Let's just be safe.
I'll be safe. I don't even fall anymore. I'm not a thrill seeker. I'm just trying to glide down the mountain. I might have some bourbon in a flask. We'll see.
The key is being someplace where people can't call you for like at least a day. You're like, it's a time just not to answer my phone for like an 8-hour day, just an 8-hour period. I'll get back to everybody. I'm not trying to be rude. Just need 8 hours on the slopes, not answering my phone.
What's funny is the mountain that I go to, or I'm going to, has pretty good cell service. But if I said that I'm in the mountains and I don't have service, it makes perfect sense.
It works. Yeah, everybody needs a couple of days, man. Everybody needs a couple of days. All right, sir. We're going to hit end on this one, and we will see you after the slopes.
See you, buddy.